Hi, my name is John and this is Business Focus. In today's video, we'll be talking about the recent survey that was done in this particular article wherein it showcases that as vehicles that are being made currently and in the past few years with the improvement of many aspects, but there are certain aspects in a vehicle that's deteriorating in terms of reliance on too much technology, and problems is creeping up in terms of many defects or problems that any motorist is encountering. So we'll take a look in this particular aspects. What are the main problems here? Can this be addressed? And what are the learnings from these issues moving forward? So we'll take a look at that. So according to this article at techspot.com, it mentions here that the car quality is suffering as automakers shift focus to technology, which is, in a sense, shifting to more technology based in your vehicle is not necessarily a bad thing, but obviously too much of something could be a big problem and obviously could hinder the experience, especially in driving a vehicle. And even more so in driving a vehicle than in any other technology or objects or machines that we're using currently. Obviously, when you're driving vehicles, safety is tantamount here. And obviously, an example of technology that has been incorporated, obviously, safety is with the seat belt. An example of improvement of technology is automation of certain aspects like winding up the window. Used to be, when I was younger, when you wanted to open the window, you have to wind it up manually, which is cumbersome and problematic, and obviously it's not convenient. But with improvement in inventing, automatic windows, not just from the driver's side, but all sides in the vehicle is very important. But with technology here, obviously incorporating it to make the cars more safer, which is very important. But obviously, when that breaks down, what happens to the vehicle? Can it still be functional, to say the least? And we'll take a look at this article. It mentions that they don't make them like they used to, meaning more reliable before. So in this one, take a look at the screen. So I think this is a Dodge Ram vehicle. Look at the center console that they have. They have a big screen or dashboard that they call it. So it's pretty large. I like having a large screen so you can see everything clearly, but having reliance on that dashboard or on that center console could be problematic. What if it breaks down? Then can you still do the functions that you need to run a vehicle, whether it's climate control, navigation, and settings and whatnot to be able to move the vehicle? And obviously, totally transforming a vehicle similar to like a PC, wherein majority of all the components is relying so heavily on technology, could be a bad thing also. So uh, in this article, it mentions there was a survey done. So the survey was done by JD Power in terms of its initial quality study. So it provides the highlight quality decline in 8 out of the 9 key categories. So driver experience was the only category that didn't suffer in this survey. But you can mention here, it mentions that it tracks the number of problems per 100 vehicles, or PP100, problems per 100 vehicles. It mentions here a record of 30 problems per vehicle, increase over the past 2 years, or an 18 PP100 increase from 2021 to 2022, and a 12 problems per 100 vehicle jump from 2022 to this year. So we'll take a look some of the car brands that are, in deep water, and as you can see, which car manufacturer is relying more and more on their technology. So here in this list, you can see Dodge Ram is at the top, meaning which is a good thing. So in the case of Dodge here, the company, they have 140 cases or problems per 100 vehicles here. So if we were to do the math, that's roughly one problem a little over one problem per every vehicle, which is, I think, you know manageable. Obviously, you have a lot of components in your vehicle there, and obviously that depends on the severity of the problems. Could be a minor issue, whether it's a loose bolt, maybe the door is not closing properly. Could be a plethora of things, which is could be related to technology or not, but it depends. But if we look closer, so if we scroll down, you have Ram, Alfa Romeo, Buick, Chevrolet, all have similar problems here, a little over one issues per vehicle here. And then as you scroll down here in the middle, so on average, you typically have 192 problems per 100 vehicle here. So roughly 1 to 2 issues per vehicle, which is not a big deal. But if you look closely, you have Mitsubishi, Toyota, Ford, Mercedes, Land Rover, Mazda, Acura, Lincoln, Infiniti, Audi, Volkswagen, Chrysler, and Volvo are somewhere in the higher tier, or higher than the average number of problems. And as you can see here, it's over 200, close to 250. And if you look at the bottom, you have Tesla and Polestar at the very bottom, which accumulates more than two and a half problems per 100 vehicle. So per vehicle could encounter 2.5 issues in each vehicle that they are that's on the road. And obviously with Tesla in this case, is reliant so heavily on technology, obviously, and it causes a myriad of problems, and which is I'm very particular in terms of safety. How's this going to affect the drivers or motorists experience here? Now it mentions in the article here, the continued decline of quality can be attributed to a multiple factors, including but not limited to greater use of technology in new cars and the repeated implementations of audio systems with known issues. And obviously, when you talk of audio, obviously the car manufacturers are trying to do everything under one house, right? From the engine build, chassis, the car seats, and everything. But there are some technologies that obviously car manufacturers are not adept in making. And one of the issue is audio, which obviously they could partner with companies that sole business is in audio systems, like maybe Sony, Bose, Shure, and there are a lot of more companies that that's their business, and partnering with them would make a lot of sense here. Now, other issues that mentions here could be controls display category and the infotainment category. So the largest year-over-year increase in problems, 3.2 per 100 vehicle and 2.3 per 100 vehicle respectively. And as mentioned, using Tesla as an example, which is at the bottom of that report, if you look closely at their dashboard, obviously they're relying so much on their technology to highlight not just the electric vehicle component, but also the convenience of having a touch screen here, which has its advantages, but also have a lot of its disadvantages. So we'll take a look at this video diagram to showcase what I mean here. So here at the center console in one of their Model S and Model X, don't get me started with their yoke steering wheel, which is not ideal in terms of driving comfort. But look at the screen here. It's using a digital display here now, which is obviously you could do a lot with its display here. But the problem here is, what happens if it were to go array? Can you still use the vehicle? Can you still see the key features? Obviously, in the traditional older vehicles, the different clusters of components is separate from one of the other. Let's say the tachometer or the speedometer, or in the fuel gauge, oil gauge, are separate from one another. If one breaks down, the other is still usable here. But obviously with a screen like this one, if one breaks down, more likely the entire screen will be useless anymore. And the question is, can you still drive the vehicle here safely? And obviously the other features, let's say driver's assist or maybe blindside camera sensor, will it still be available here? And if we were to look, obviously the more critical part, which is the center console, which is of Tesla. Now obviously it's very big. I think it's very important to have this large screen, so that other car manufacturers would see that it's like a big tablet plastered in your center console, not just a puny 6-inch, 5-inch, or even 7-inch. Having more than 10-inch of real estate is very important. But my issue here is, Obviously, for mundane features like, let's say, using Google Maps to be able to scroll to, pinch and navigate through the screen. I think it's similar to how you experience in your smartphone or in your tablets is very important. But one of the main drawbacks that it's mentioned here, let's see, is when you're going to your climate control, and if you notice you're heavily reliant on the screen to do several touches to be able to navigate, to adjust the climate control, whether it's in the front seat or front part of the vehicle or at the back part. And if you notice, I've been used to having tactile features. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, or if you prefer to have a touchscreen experience. Could be problematic, especially your focus should be in front and adjusting if there's no tactile feel. So when you press on the screen, you don't know if it's activated or not. So by the time you want to double check, meaning you have to move your eyes from the road to the screen in a split second, meaning you're distracted already. You're not focusing on the road. And obviously, when, in the case that currently driving a Toyota Fortuner, the climate control is a knob, so you can easily adjust it, and if it's moving to the right side, to the left side, and you can see if the temperature is moving up or downward. There's a more tactile feel. Now obviously that's just one of the main I think issues, that if you rely so much on the screen, and as mentioned, what if the main screen here were to go down for whatever reasons, whether the connection or something else? Can you still navigate the climate control if the main dashboard here or center console is not available here? And obviously the main features, all of it, from climate control menu from your vehicle, is heavily reliant on this screen. So it's similar to your smartphone here. Now obviously, having a smartphone, having bugs in your smartphone is okay, because obviously you don't rely it so much in terms of safety. But in a vehicle here per se, what if it were to be damaged, or if it's not working anymore? Can the vehicle still run properly in terms of its safety and whatnot here? Which is, I think, with the improvement of technology on one hand, but in terms of practicality, is it's turning sideways quickly here, as mentioned in the article here. And another complaints that was mentioned here is wireless charging pad issues. Obviously, having that convenience is important, but obviously you have different sets of phones. How do you make sure that the phone is placed properly and doesn't move as much when the car is moving? So in my case, you have to attach a several mechanism, in this case a cell phone mount on the screen or in your car, so that it would hold it properly, so you can see it in your eye line of sight, and you can just plug it in. Obviously it's not wireless, so it's better than just slushing around in your console or wherever you put it in your dashboard here. And also, car manufacturers are trying to outdo themselves in terms of trying to reinvent the wheel in terms of what already works in the past, trying to change it, which has been perfected, and trying to redo it for aesthetic purposes, is problematic as well. Just an example here, it mentions that there were some owners who reported issues with regards to door handles. Obviously, door handles, it has to have a good feel when you pull it, so that you open the door, and when you try to lock the door or push the door, there has to be some satisfying feel. Otherwise, it's not a good experience here in itself. The manufacturer insisted on making unnecessary complex parts or system is a problematic as well here. And what's interesting, according to a senior director at auto benchmarking at JD Power, the automotive industry is facing a wide range of quality problems, as mentioned earlier, a phenomenon not seen in the past 37 years of history of the IQS, which is kind of concerning. We're moving ahead, but we're moving one step forward, two steps backward, which is never ideal here. And obviously, you want the improvements to continue in both the safety of the vehicle as well as the improvements that's necessary. I think in many cases, like in the vehicle, I think incorporating 360 degrees camera sensor in all vehicles should be standard already now. Obviously, it's going to cost more, which I think car enthusiasts or motorists are willing to pay that extra money, but trying to, save a bit here and there at the cost of safety or in terms of aesthetics. Obviously, at the end of the day, when you're driving a vehicle, you need a reliable and safe vehicle first and foremost before everything else. Otherwise, why would people pay for that vehicle, whether it's a combustible engine or either an EV or a different type of powered vehicle here? So it's a problem that's going to persist, I think, unless car buyers speak up in terms of this issue, so that car manufacturers will rectify this issue. And if it's safety involved, that's why I'm very vocal in terms of the of Tesla's promotion of their FSD, or the full safety driving software, which is technically not yet a level 5 autonomous capability, which is another discussion in itself. And again, it's their right to be able to do it, but mispromoting it can be dangerous to car owners who's planning on buying their vehicles. And obviously with EV vehicles, the problems with the new technology, if it breaks down, can they fix it? And then don't get me started with third party repair capability or ability is another issue that needs to be tackled moving forward as well. Anyway, that's it. So hopefully, it just goes to show that with improvements, there always has to be a balance in terms of the experience of every motor vehicle owner, of having a satisfying and enjoyable experience, other than, yes, it may be aesthetically pleasing on the onset, and yet it causes more problems later on when you're owning it, not just in terms of months but years or even decades later on. Anyway, that's it for this week. Come back again on Saturday for more business news here. As always, for more news, stay here at Business Focus. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.